This is Nate Ramaley with the Central Cannabis Association. Today we're joined with Phillip Snodgrass, my co-host, as well as
Chris Hutchings,
Clark,
Cylus Gatti,
Ricky Starling,
Adam.
Welcome, gentlemen. Today we're going to start talking about IPM and soils and different things we can do to identify bugs, that type of jazz. So we're going to kick it right off with saying soil versus other growing mediums. I believe that most people have been using regular soil, and then I want to talk about possibly mixing cocoa, moving from perlite, moving from there. Yeah. So, guys, in your experiences, is soil the main component to your grow for the amendments?
Well, currently now, yes. Though I've only been growing in soil a couple years now. I grew hydro before that, so soil is what I'm onto now, though, for sure.
Awesome. Did you find a increase in bug problems or mold problems when you went from hydro to soil?
Wow. You know what? To be honest, I found a decrease in bug problems. In my experience, I don't know if there's clearly no science behind that, but that I know of. But just in my experience, I never had spider mites with soil, but I always had them with hydro. I don't know why.
You just got that extra protection in your soil, maybe? Maybe there's a beneficial that was helping you out or something.
Yeah. Not on purpose, though.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'd like to make one point. In most what we're using, call it soil, it is a soilless medium. Most peat-based. I mean, anything unless we're using living soil and layering a bunch of silts and stuff like that, we're basically using a soilless media. Peat-based cocoa, none of that's real soil. It's just a mixture of inert things that we use to hold our roots and nutrients together.
If you're doing pro mix or something like that, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Traditionally, we've all grown in peat-based things, and that's by definition, that is a soilless media.
Yep.
Or a cocoa core.
Hmm.
I ran a General Hydroponics straight cocoa core when I first learned to grow, and I thought I was like a hydroponics grower.
Basically, in some ways you are.
In a way, yeah.
In some ways you absolutely are.
Minus the constant submerging of the roots.
Most of your house plants around your home, in a matter of time, become a hydroponic setup because they lose any like available nutrients in that pot. So the only nutrients they are getting is from the water you're giving them. So a lot of things are very basic.
100%.
It still could be called hydroponic.
Bonsai.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, that's awesome, guys. So when you're doing your soil prep and or your other preparation to your perlite or your cocoa, what do you like to add to it?
My feet. I put my feet in it.
Feet in it?
At first.
Definitely, worm castings. I like to add some kashi, bokashi, kelp meal, fish meal, bone meal. There's all different kinds of things, and throughout the cycle, depending on how you're growing, you can always top dress and allow those feeder roots to come to the top to search for what they need.
Yeah, with the worm castings, and I throw extra one shot in my soil.
One shots.
Oh yeah, one shot.
That's where it's at. It's only one shot.
What's one shot?
It's one shot.
Nectar for the gods.
All right.
It's a granular, correct?
Yeah. You just toss it right in there.
That's awesome. Do you amend anything if you find bug or pest or mold or mildew problems to your soil as you go through the grow?
I'll kind of scrape the top layer and
kind of agitate
do a soil drench.
Yeah.
Depending on what the issue is.
Mixes were traditionally notorious for compacting, especially at the top. And after you got a month or so into the cycle, the tops would kind of crust up in a way. That's why I started adding cocoa core a long time, spiking it in there because it keeps that drainage going. But then you definitely have to agitate the top layer to kind of get it to just with the water to soak in naturally after a while.
Sweet. Well, guys, let's continue on through to the pest identification. What's one of your first experiences with pests, and how did that go?
Fungus gnats. It's one of the most common problems anybody will
It's
get.
one of the most
up.
depressing stories of my life, actually.
Fungus gnats.
Fungus gnats.
Russet mites.
Dog Peter gnats, really no, but actually spider mites.
Russet mites. That was my very first bug that I got in Colorado.
Are you kidding?
Was russet
That was your
mites.
first bug?
I've been
Three
very lucky.
different tents that I tore apart and threw all three tents away after 2 months of having them.
Spider mites was my first one, and I underestimated them, of course, the first time, and they did some stuff. They ruined everything, you know.
But you also learned next time
that you're just not supposed to have spider mites on your cannabis. Yeah.
Well,
I
you
did
know.
learn that.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
But
as
I
far as
learned
taking
that
care of them.
you're supposed to prevent and not just not attack them when they're on there. You're supposed to already be assuming they are on there, and then once I started doing that, I never got them back again. You know.
Oh yeah,
Luckily,
it
I've
always
never
sucks
got
the first time.
The russet mite though, that's one that I've never dealt with, and hopefully.
Does anyone know anyone here locally that's had them, or is it all these Colorado problems? You have had them
But
here.
no, you said
Missouri.
in Colorado.
I've also had them here. I picked them up
I feel
from
freaked out sitting here all of a sudden.
some clones that I snagged up.
Get away from me.
Don't set next
a ways away.
There's spider mites and russet mites in
and
this circle. I'm out.
I've actually had to get rid of all of them, but yep.
Yeah.
You don't have any currently.
No, I've dealt with that issue
sure?
months and months and months ago.
Couldn't have an egg or anything.
Did you have friends from Colorado
Just making
come?
sure.
No, my garden's not in my house, so
I didn't know if like your friends brought them from Colorado or.
no. Actually, Oklahoma was where
damn.
they were sourced from.
We're just fucking.
I've been very lucky.
Hey, if you could cut out where they're from, you know.
That is a good point, though. The less people that walk in the area, the less chances you have to get a lot of dogs, cats, anything like that. The less things you can keep even in that area of the house, it's will make a difference.
Well, cats are terrible because you can't keep them out of nothing anyway.
Yeah, which animals are going to
look
make their
at
way
me
in
like
there.
they're smarter
Well,
than
dogs,
me.
In
not
all
so
honesty,
much.
it's good to have that CO2 around your plants.
What the cats?
Kitties.
Huh? I mean, really anything as
Just
long as you do
breathing.
preventative measures.
Yeah.
Speaking of preventative measures, monitoring is probably one of the key IPM regimen things you can do to keep it down, keep spider mites down, russet mites down. You're monitoring the plants daily and preventing. Like when you start to see something happen, what's the first steps that you take?
The first time you see something happen, it's probably at that point potentially too late.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. You can fight it off.
Depends where you're at in the cycle.
Yeah.
Also,
whether you're in flower, late veg, mid veg,
anything can be fixed in veg, as far as I'm concerned. Just wait to
you have
flip
the
the
time,
flower, get everything in line before you flip.
Flower's the hard part.
Because you can't spray nothing. So you generally, if it's in veg and you start to see something, you're like, oh, spraying.
Spray it.
I'm just gonna douse all these plants and I'm gonna do it every day for a week or 3 days until I don't see nothing else.
What do you guys like to spray?
I've been using organic 3-in-1s, basically the crop
Spinosad.
Yeah.
If it's gets to be too much in veg.
Crop control I'm using is like thyme oil and it like the basic lineup to most of those kind of sprays.
I'm real paranoid. Through all of veg, I'm using pyrethrins and neem oil, and I use it all, but not like constantly. It's like maybe once every 2-3 weeks they get a bath because I got a nice long veg time usually, and you got to make sure everything's solid and 100% before you flip it, and after that it's just
Cross your fingers.
so
Not necessarily. No, it's not like that at all. But
I use Mercenary.
Yeah, Mercenary.
Mercenary.
I like Mercenary and I like Green Clean, and I like what is that other one?
Lost Coast.
Lost Coast Plant Therapy, and then there's another one I use is a potassium bicarbonate. I think it's called Green something else, but it's a powder potassium bicarbonate that works really good for mildews and molds. If there may be spores on the leaves, that'll take care of them. But I do it as a cycle, so I do all those products, and I'll do like. I'll do pretty much every other day, because on the off days, then they'll get regular foliar feedings. So like in the morning, before the lights go on, they'll get sprayed with either a feeding or the next day would be something like mercenary. And that's worked well for me. I don't have any problems.
That's cool.
That's the key.
Maybe some Dr.
Find a way that
Bronner's
works and
soap.
stick with it.
I haven't used that yet. But I've heard that's the stuff.
I love it. It's good
Dr.
stuff.
Bronner's is all about it.
Dr. Bronner's.
Oh,
Yeah, just the soap.
Yeah.
Just like diluted in water.
Yeah, put it in water and then
Yeah.
sometimes take like one drop of dial soap and just
well,
shake
that's
it,
from the food
disperse it better.
food growing history I have. Any soaps like that are fundamentally taking the wax coatings off the exoskeletons of bugs, and they're dehydrating almost instantly. Is why any soap that's a natural based soap can be used diluted enough.
And soap is also a wetting agent as well, and so you can apply that with like an oil-based product, and it actually takes the surface tensions off the water
it's a great
molecule
vehicle for an
to
oil,
make it
yeah.
spread further than
Absolutely.
be a droplet.
Best way.
And I find it's very beneficial. The smaller that your particulate spray can be versus a droplet type spray.
Dude, some misters are so much better. Like the
But
squeeze
foggers,
top.
The more it's
I
a
have
foggy
added
kind of
fog to use
consistent.
I do not
Yeah.
like the squeeze top ones at all.
Yeah, they suck. But
they're
there's
terrible.
I got one bottle of foliar feed, and for whatever reason, the mist was so fine that I wanted to use it for foliar application of like everything. So much better than all the other squeeze bottles that I found.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to find another one like it. It pisses me off.
Pump sprayers
I
are
just
really
use a
good.
pump sprayer.
Buildasoil.com.
Yeah.
Pump sprayers.
Oh, okay.
They've got some
The only
really
thing
good ones.
my pump sprayer just shoots in a straight. I wish that had like the angled nozzle to it. You know?
I think you can find
I have
specialty
an
tips for
angled
Hudson
nozzle
sprayers
so
these
that
days that are absolutely
I
for
can
fogging
get
purposes.
underneath.
I bet that's handy.
Oh, angled nozzle?
Yeah.
It's
I've
great.
always just used the regular.
Yeah, but angled you can get totally, and you need to spray more of the underneath side of the leaf surface.
Usually I
and the
bend it
top.
over and I'll lift up the leaves and spray.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't. Mine, since it angles up, I can turn it and it'll angle up, so I can just.
You just get that at the grocery store?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I think I don't know what kind it was. Something rain, some sort of rain.
So, does anybody here use predatory mites in their grows?
I never have.
Yeah, actually, Evergreen Grower Supply out of Oregon has some of the best. A lot of the ones that I've had, they've actually came in like Coos Mix and like worm castings that I've got from the East Coast. I haven't really specifically bought any predatory besides like ladybugs, but I mean, I haven't even used those really.
Never in cannabis production, but in food production, in organic food production, we used a lot of predatory insects. And one of my first memories in life is catching ladybugs with my grandma and putting them on the peonies to eat the aphids.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, that's literally like, it's old school.
Praying mantises.
Oh, they're wonderful to watch, too. They're fun to watch.
I've never had the money for it per se, or just the put in the effort. I wouldn't say it's a money issue, but just like,
I had a great story this summer. I had a large wolf spider end up in one of my 5x5 tents, stayed there the whole grow, and I never have many bug problems, but I kind of gave her the credit on that one.
Yeah.
That's
I have
awesome.
pictures of it. It's wonderful. She stayed in one of the vent tubes and was like big, about as big as your hand, and just hung out there the whole grow.
Wow.
I just kind of like loved it. I got pictures of her just hanging out in there, and it was like the mojo of it. Like
I've
the
heard people
science.
using praying mantises, and that's
legit. You can buy
pretty
those
cool,
by the
man.
They get intense.
And you just have a bunch of praying
They
mantises.
start eating each other.
Yeah, once they eat all what they can eat, they will start eating each other.
Oh, really?
But then, like when the lights come on, you'll have one praying up on top of your cola,
That's
and,
the
and it
king.
looks right at you.
And he's the king.
Every time you walk in, yeah, like it's crazy.
That sounds
I got you, bro. I'm up here
Man,
on
I should
top.
get
I got
some.
you.
No, it's a good time.
Are they going to get? Do they like to get out of the tent, or they just chill in there?
They just chill
They're
with the
not going
plants
that
as
far.
long as they've got food to consume.
Especially
like-
this time
Yeah.
of year, if you can get the larvae, they're not going outside. They're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
stay right
true.
in.
Well, you know,
Just get like a humidity dome and kind of create like a little atmosphere in it, so they can go in, get their water, and come back out.
yeah.
There's something to be said with humidity too, and as far as pest management and higher temperatures
Oh, man.
kind of help slow down the reproduction rate of a lot of negative insects and pests, spider mites especially, you know. But the cooler, the drier it is, it's like, oh fuck. And then that's when you're typically using those type climate controls in flower and late flowering, because you're taking, hopefully not looking at mold, and so you're wanting to keep your humidity low and your temperatures low, so you get that nice change of fade in your cannabis, and it brings on a really pretty flower onslaught. But it's one way or the other, and it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know,
it's beautiful how many ways there are.
Yeah.
If Cylus was here, he'd have a lot. Or not,
Cylus is here.
Not Cylus. Toby. Toby was here. He'd have a lot to say about that. He's been
wealth
talking
of
about.
knowledge.
Yeah, he could geek out.
Yeah, I like it.
Awesome. So, guys, the next thing on the list would be botanicals versus insecticides, and your guys' take on that. Have you used botanicals to prevent insects and pests?
Well, most of the organic mixes is botanicals. I mean, like it's a mixture of concentrated oils from different plants, thyme, garlic, ginger, all that stuff mixed together. Yeah, absolutely.
I use botanicals probably.
Yeah.
What was the other one you said?
Insecticides.
Just straight, like, are you talking about just chemical-based insecticides?
No, yeah, I use botanicals, and if it got to the point where I was using insecticides, I feel personally that's just a failed grow. I get rid of all of it. And
I guess if I was really attached and it was still in veg and everything I tried failed, I might.
That's
but
never
I never
happened to me though. I've never had to go nuclear.
Yeah. But I've never lost a whole crop either. So
there's
I can't say what I wouldn't do.
Time I had to fill my grow room with pyrethrum bombs when I got russets, and then that's when I threw away everything. I threw away my soil, because as soon as you hit everything with pyrethrum, it kills everything, your active soil and everything. So I had to start everything back again. It kills everything.
So you don't have to use. If you get a real bad issue, then you need to use a bomb or something like that. And that's like pretty heavy duty. There are sprays and things like that you can apply to the surface of the leaf that aren't going to like totally trash. You don't have to just bomb the whole room. You can just give them a bath in a lighter pyrethrin. Like, it doesn't have to be the heavy duty formulas. You can get sort of a maintenance protocol going where every few weeks you spray with a light dose of something like pyrethrin. And then you don't have to go like crazy. For me, things like that are reassurance, because I like to keep clones going over and over and over, and I want to keep it alive all the time. So I want my veg area / clone area to I just have to know that it's pest free, because I'm taking those into the flower room, and I need it to be pest free before it hits flower, because once flower goes, I see it as I'm not touching it with anything after that. Like, once it's there, it's in flower. I'm not putting anything toxic on it. So
that's the same as me. I don't want to put anything. I've tried before, but if you're gonna try, know you're gonna try. If you see something and you think there's something going on and you think you might be able to save it, you're gonna try.
I've tried.
I tried to wash some buds once using a bud washing technique. It worked. But I never did it again, not because I just was just like, this is crazy. I mean, this was stuff that you would normally throw away. And I was like, well, might as well try it.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of washing it, but I've never done it.
Dude, yeah, it's real interesting. It actually took all the hairs off of it.
What?
Like little no, like dust.
Oh, yeah.
Not like the
It's like no.
No, like dust and particles. All the dirt.
Yeah.
If you think about all the air running in your room, and then you got these big sticky things swaying in there. What are they? They're just air filters. What do air filters do? Collect dirt and dust.
A lot of outdoor growers do a wash after they harvest.
Yeah, you dip it in straight water, and then you just blast dry it with some air so it gets back to where it was before you
some
dipped
backpack blowers or something.
Yeah,
just put it in front of some
leaf
fans.
blowers. I've seen outdoor growers use, especially like this last summer. They were having to go through with all the forest fires and ash up on the mountains.
Oh yeah,
coming through with leaf blowers and blowing their crops off of ash and in between the rains and such.
That's kind of interesting. I bet some of that ash was actually pretty good for those plants.
They said it was very mold inhibiting.
It's amazing.
They said it was
soil,
trapping
but-
moisture and making a lot of mold.
I'm waiting to run across the barbecue potato chip strain.
Yeah, there'll be something. It's Campfire OG. It'll be
Campfire OG. Like, why does this taste like?
Fire.
Yeah, this tastes kind of like hickory.
Getting back to what Chris was maybe saying, just a little off topic, but same as far as doing like a bud wash after you've harvested and cleaned your flowered products before you then go and hang it. You can also do getting back to pest management. You can always use like a floral spray and different things like that. But if you want to go the extra mile, you can get like a 5-gallon bucket, dilute down a good amount of solution, and actually like dunk your whole plant and actually wash it in that solution from head to toe, front side, back side, underneath side. And it really, I found out,
that'll work.
It's super beneficial.
Smaller the better.
Yeah, and you can.
Gets to be a pain in the
It's just
ass.
another reassurance. You know what I'm saying? As a measure to, because once you've had spider mites and you're kind of going, you just don't ever want to get them again.
Just twice in my
Those
entire
buggers are hard to. They're not that hard to get rid of, but they can be.
They're real hard to see.
They can be.
They're hard to spot, and then when
They
you
can
spot
be
them,
dicks,
you're like,
man.
oh, come on.
Yep.
Like, here, I'm going to jump my humidity up to 60 and see how this goes.
I had an instant where I was trying the thing where you would go two days of darkness right at the end. You just shut your lights off.
Do it.
And I was like, I'm going to try this. And everything was fine when I shut those lights off. And then 2 days later, I walked in and there was like spider mite, they took over like a whole section. And I didn't really notice any spider mites before that. You know what I mean?
That's about all you can do.
Put an old sock over.
Never did I
Pantyhose,
do
here we go.
that darkness period ever again.
Just didn't have the light in there to keep the heat up. And
I don't know what it was. Yeah, they just took over, and I was like, I'll never do that again.
Yeah, at one point, it was really hard not to have the possibility of a cross contamination working at a plant shop. Which kind of was like, dang.
That is true.
Yeah, it's kind of freaking me out.
And there were spider mites all over that plant shop.
Got spider mites, and it's kind of weirding me out right now.
Oh, man.
Dang.
I haven't smelled anybody too bad, so everyone's taken a bath or a shower recently.
Well, it's really cold. It's starting to get cold out, so
we're just kind of joking about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think at our Sunday meeting, that's the most exposed I am all week long.
Wait a minute.
Where you been, man?
Where you been? Was you russet mites, eh?
Did you take your clothes off?
Yeah.
man?
Did you take a shower?
Cleanliness
we start
across the
doing
board
these things in the nude,
in
guys.
any stage of the grow would be paramount for an IPA.
That is 100% true. Being super clean.
That's why I won't-
hairnets, booties.
That's why I won't
gloves, even
scrog.
at home grow.
Because I like to
still
pull
giving it
everything
some
out of my
patience.
tent once a week and literally scrub the walls down vinegar and the floor down vinegar and literally spin each plant around and check it out close, and then I put them all back in.
Yep.
Now, on a commercial grow, I could see scrogging. You wouldn't be able to do that, but in a little tents at home, I just can't get myself to scrog for that reason because I'm afraid of what's behind in the back corner.
I get it.
That wolf spider.
Whatever. I mean, whether it's just humidity, it could be anything. But when you're scrogged and locked into a spot like that, if you've grown in a small space, you're reaching to water back plants and stuff, so you're not scouting them like you're supposed to, at least for me.
Crawl under it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that is ridiculous sometimes. And you're still like holding your breath and contorting and all this stuff, and you're like not casually just scouting for all these problems.
Like, there's no way that the plant in the back is getting the right amount of water.
Exactly.
Because you're you know what? F this, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm tired and stuff. Yeah, that's just why I personally don't scrog is for sort of my IPM.
I like to move my plants around.
Absolutely.
Well, either could be a bud pressed up against the wall and it's not getting circulation.
I mean, if it was a big track of them, like growing tables in the middle of a warehouse, I could totally understand it. But in tents and closets and stuff like that, and under steps back in the days, under stairways and stuff, you had to improvise and scrogging. I always was afraid of for that reason.
You're scrogging right now, aren't you, Joel?
Yeah.
But in the middle of a 10 by 10, you can pretty much get around yours, right?
Yeah, I have four-sided access. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's still. I don't think I'm going to do it again. If I do a scrog, I'm going to do an individual type scrog.
That's kind of what I
way.
do.
Yeah.
Like
Each
those
plant has a
Atlas
tomato
plant
cage,
trainers.
and they're
Have you seen an Atlas plant trainer? Is the coolest thing, man. It's like this old school erector set thing that connects to your pots, and it I mean, it just creates stakes and stuff. Like, no way, you don't need that. It like connects to the outside, and it's all like you can morph it and bend it and make.
That's
the low stress training is amazing.
I've seen the ones
that's a yield increaser, I guarantee it, if you get them.
And they were so cool. The plant, because they had the plants actually there, all scrogged out with buds on them and stuff, and you're like, dang.
That's neat.
I picked up these
they're expensive though.
Yeah.
Planters. Actually, I'm giving a plug to planters right now. I don't know if that's a thing we do, but they have these cool little. They're not like tomato cages, but it's like metal stakes. That the metal stakes have like a little thing at the top that holds in place a circular sort of scrog grid, so you can have your own scrog for each plant.
Yeah.
But I can only do the first scrog that way, and once it gets bigger, I have to get everything under one net. So.
Yeah.
So I want to bring up something that has been intriguing me is GMO for plant bug resistance and mold resistance. It's very prevalent in commercial industry for food, for corn. It may make a transition into the cannabis industry at some point. What are your takes on that?
Well, I don't think it might. I think it will.
It definitely.
I think it already has.
It probably already has. Yeah.
I mean, selective breeding, I think, is the.
Well, our selective breeding is a passive form of it, but what we're talking about is more on the like in the lab kind of thing where they are creating something that is unnatural in the process. No.
But as far as either or, I would definitely side on the side of selective breeding.
Me as well.
Yeah, definitely. Then in the laboratory, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's selective breeding is how we get our new yummy strains.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. But when they take it in the lab and start breaking genomes apart and stuff, they're going to do it. But what's it going to benefit us?
Not you or I. Just
the convenience store type cannabis that'll be sold.
Somebody already has.
Yeah, exactly. Monsanto, I'm sure, is already 3 steps ahead, and the corporate devils.
No names, Phylos.
Yeah.
I'm just
exactly.
No names.
Good, Ricky. Go.
Yeah,
Big business will ruin anything. That's but the craft growers will survive. I guarantee it.
Yeah, we'll be selling heirloom varieties,
and we've talked about that. That don't go away, no matter how gluttonous the market is. People are going to want the best.
Oh yeah, people still buy heirloom tomatoes when they could buy regular tomatoes.
From me, usually in the summertime. Yeah, I play that game, and that's a real thing.
Cylus has heirloom tomatoes. Just so anybody needs heirloom tomatoes.
I'm just saying, in the middle of summer, you mean commercially, they can't. You can't hardly give regular red field tomatoes away, but if you got the right heirloom varieties at the right market, I can demand $3.50 a pound right through the glut of the season.
Yeah,
and the cannabis, I guarantee, will be the same sort of thing. Obviously, completely different prices and stuff, but every one of us here know we'll pass right past some convenience store cannabis to buy
I'll
the best.
Buy top shelf all the way, $3.50 a pound.
What you just say?
Exactly.
When people are promoting how cheap their product is, I tend to shut off. Maybe that's not good, but I don't care I don't care what it is. I'm kind of scared off by the cheapest.
Well, that's kind of an issue in Missouri right now. Is people are like, the big issue is how much do I charge per ounce? And when you break it down, like all the hard work that goes into growing. The product's still got to be at a price that's affordable for the grower. Mm-hmm. We all want to offer medication to patients that's more affordable, but there's other ways for of them to ingest it, tincture, oils, and salves and stuff that we can offer those at a lower price. But flower is always going to be a commodity that we have to offer at a little higher price.
So, gentlemen, breeding and let's talk about a little bit about cloning. Right?
Yeah.
So
Right. Wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's a good topic.
It's just like cutting them things and
build an army for free.
Build an army for free, man.
Absolutely. It's one of my most satisfying steps of it all, probably other than pulling it cured buds out of the jar and smoking them. Cloning and the success of cloning always brings me tremendous amounts of joy.
They're little babies.
They are. They're little
Are you aeroponic? Or
I built an aeroponic setup from scratch in the mid-90s, but no more. No, I don't use it anymore. No. But I literally would do that kind of stuff with stuff I bought at home, Walmart.
Yeah, that's what I do, Rubbermaid toads.
Yep, absolutely. And it's funny to walk in 20 years later, walk in a hydro store and see the exact same thing for sale there, and you're like, yeah,
for like $150, and you're like, what? I can build you one for like $50.
Nobody even taught me how to do that. It was just sort of like the need of it,
right?
you know? Yeah.
I couldn't get those. I do terrible in those things.
No, you got to get the black one with the yellow, where it's got the squares. It's like from Home Depot, and it locks. Best one.
Okay, yeah, I'm talking about just in general that style of cloning.
Do you
like
do
the actual brand, like the manufactured ones.
Is yours a bubble ponic one, or is it like
Just aeroponic with a pump and a mister?
Yeah, I used to do them with like fish tank bubblers and fish tank heaters. I used to literally use just all
You just got
found
a mister
material.
that shoots up and miss the roots.
See,
The trick I thought was to, as soon as they showed even little roots, get them into dirt and get them switched over before they had a big
That's
veil.
what I do.
Dude, my favorite thing to do is as soon as the nubs come out, I put 2 cool packs in there, and I freeze the water, and it makes the roots shoot out. They love cold water. I always thought they loved warm water.
Wow.
But warm water builds up bacteria, bad bacteria.
Yeah.
They love cool water.
And you wait till the roots have like
Just
big veil.
are stubbing on the stems.
Gotcha. I found if you waited till there was even an inch or two, the transition was way hard on them. So I always did it when they were like half-inch roots just coming out. They were easily to get into your soilless mix.
I usually put them into the pot as soon as I see a.
Yep.
And sprinkle
But
it.
I use
that little breaking
the
of-
little cubes, and I use a dome. But as soon as I see any.
Like a nub, you just...
Well, usually I don't see it that fast though, because those things, once they go out, they just go, and so like you pull it out one day and be like, oh my god, I gotta get this in the dirt. There's
I use a
roots
seed
coming
tray
way
and a
out of
dome.
here.
So this, the roots are like this long, microphonic cloner, and then cut them and...
For the longest time,
cut
I've
'em?
just used a seed
Yeah.
tray, a dome, a heat
Right.
pad,
Cleaning's good.
and it's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much
right.
flawless.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. Clonex is one of the only. I've tried some organic rooting gels that I thought might have been bro-ish, but I thought they kind of brought my percentages down, so I went back to Clonex.
Has anybody
I've had
tried
regular-
the Elite 91 clone solution?
The spray? Is that the spray?
No, it's like a green liquid, and and it's a replacement for the gel, the hormone gel. So you pour some in like a little tiny cup or whatever, and when you take your cutting, you let it set in there for like 20 seconds or something. I started using it just to try it out, and I've had the same success I had with the cloning gel. It was identical success.
I soak my cuttings for a little bit in what is it, Dr. Root?
Dr. Root.
Culture Biologics.
Yeah.
I soak them in there for about 15 minutes. Clonex, and then put it in a Grodan plug and then dome, and a week later it's just like booyah, here I am.
I've seen it happen in straight water. I mean, that's the beauty of it. We can get as nerdy as we want with it, but I've seen pieces outdoor grows. I've seen pieces break off and reroot laying there on the ground.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a beautiful thing for
I know a
us
lady
to save
that
money
was,
for seeds.
asking me to help her set up her grow. She's taking these clones, and she just like stuck them in a glass of water, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like, you gotta like do something better than that, Like
It works.
And she got roots out of it, and I was like,
but I
okay,
think
cool.
it's a matter of time.
I don't think people like us want to
and
risk that.
waste a bunch of time.
We'd like to take a lot of the risk out of it and keep the
Yeah.
Keep
percentages
that
up.
perpetual motion going.
I'd rather have 99% success
Especially,
and
I mean,
only
like,
throw
it's a-
one
yeah.
out of.
Well, I butchered this plant, and I called it a mom. It's got one branch left, and I took 50 clones, and I got 2 that survived.
And being an old school,
That would suck, you know what I mean?
Oh, I was like, no.
being an old school cultivator, it's a wonderful thing. I mean, like, you could be going through bag seeds after bag seeds after bag seeds and find one that you
your
like,
pheno.
and then it changed the game.
I've straight up done that.
Exactly.
Sci-fi,
Then you
it
got. I
was
mean,
the
like,
one
no
that
more
changed the game.
guesswork. You know what you're getting, and it's a wonderful thing. I mean, it's just. Phenol hunts are great, but if you're
There's
trying
so
to put
many
medicine in
different ways
jars,
to
yeah,
clone.
exactly.
That's also how like all the classic
Every one of them.
strains
Yep, has
pops
been
up.
found
It's
in
like, oh, it was a found bag seed.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
the best
found
ones.
batch.
Where'd you get that genetic, man? Found it in a bag.
Everybody says phenol hunt back in the 90s. That's the only way you really had. You took bag seeds and
Came from a
sifted through
fish
them
concert,
until you
bro.
found a
I
nice-
bought this
At least in
bag.
this, for us in this
Yeah,
region,
around here we weren't lucky enough to have the
grow
a lot
up
of
out
what
in
people.
Cali, Northern California,
Exactly.
or Northern Oregon, or
But I mean, even some of the swag seeds were pretty decent.
Oh yeah. No, I found some amazing phenols back. I didn't even know what we didn't say phenotypes back then. You know what I mean? But you just
like,
find
it's a
some
female,
really good
yes.
strains of weed out of some really wimpy bag seeds. But the need of it drove us on. You know, the need of it. We would just try any seed we had.
How long will you take a mother? Will you take from a mother until something happens
I don't
to
keep
her?
a mother.
I don't keep mothers.
I perpetually take clones, keep one of those, take clones from it. I don't have room. We have plant count issues.
I'll do like a flip flop, take a round or two of clones, grow them up, and then flip flop, because at that point, that mother in itself is kind of like just another vegetative plant, and it's got a well-established plant. Just go ahead and transition it into flower, and make sure you've got your clone backups ready.
Sure.
That's exactly what I do.
Boom.
Yeah.
Have you guys experienced much mutation or hermaphrodization with cloning over time?
I have not.
No.
I think I've just listened to some stuff where people used to
They always say that.
genetic drift and all that stuff, and I don't think. I don't, if anything, I think it might be people don't want to admit that their practices
Or lacking.
are lacking, and over time their weed isn't as good.
Over time, you lose some of the genetic features of your mother plant. 5 generations down the line. That's why keeping a mother around is so important. I mean, even if you have to
if we didn't have plant count issues,
20-gallon pot and tie it down, that's what I've always done, and just keep it. But like you said, plant count's everything.
Exactly.
If we could get a bill that increases our plant count, then we wouldn't have to worry about that issue for patients.
The plant count doesn't make so much sense to me, because it's like there's styles of growing that you can have one plant make the same amount of weed as 50. You
can put one plant in a 100-gallon radical bag and veg that thing out for months, and literally.
Or you could have a water table with.
Yeah,
but
50
plant counts
plants.
are everything to terminal patients.
Absolutely. People that are
need you need that pound. You need those pounds guaranteed for RSO, fecal oil, and it's not guaranteed when you only got
6 plants.
Yeah.
What's that? 32 plants.
Learning how to perpetually harvest helps tremendously also.
Yeah.
But with only
18 plants,
But with only perpetual harvest is one thing. But if you only got 6 plants to work with,
but if I got I get it. But if you got 6 right behind it, you know what I mean?
There's
I guess like we're saying, there's a number of ways to do it, but the plant counts in the end keep
it's
us all
much
very
easier if you
limited.
just got 180 plants. You can get your pound.
That'd be a dream.
yeah.
You figure out how to do it that way,
If you could have 64-inch rock wools on a ebb and flow table, they figure out you could get 10 grams per plant, and it flips over that'd be beautiful, but we can't.
Yeah,
the plant legal. Count sucks too, just as far as the taste climate, or if it's even a right words to say, but just like if a patient wants a variety, and you can only have allotted amount of plants, and so if you know anything about growing, you take one clone a day or whatever, and hope that it lives or something, and then you got 1 plant, 2 plants of 3 different varieties, or it's nearly impossible for a patient to create a variety in a garden just with the actual plant count, because different strands grow different ways. They take longer to root. They grow longer. They veg longer.
It's definitely a challenge growing different strains and win one tent. But
it's a lucky thing
to do.
Patients can have 2 caregivers, so they at least are able to get a little more variety.
Yeah. That's good also for a patient to make sure that hopefully their demand is fulfilled. Their needs are met from one angle or another.
1 or 2 of those people probably gonna mess up.
Everybody has their own needs, but variety is the key to me as a patient.
And it's not me.
Just as a patient, using it as my medicine.
We're all messed up, though.
It's a variety is a key to it.
That's why I say that, because
every time you grow, you're gonna mess up.
Yeah, you're gonna mess up. You can mess something up every single time.
So with variety being necessary for everybody, in say Colorado, California, they have nurseries that will grow pheno hunt or selective breeding programs, and then they'll sell those clones. Is that going to be something here in Missouri?
It probably will. I don't know. You probably know. I wouldn't buy your damn
in the very beginning, I was hoping. I asked a question online to Franker about it, and there's no way to do it unless you had already been enrolling in a cultivation license. But nobody is going to offer a nursery. I had suggested to him, having essentially a greenhouse patients could come into, have a front desk, and they can walk you through, and you can hand select your strains inside of a greenhouse. You're getting great genetics. You can look at them, inspect them, know what bugs you're taking home, beneficials, whatever, right then and there. But there's nobody doing that in Missouri.
Yeah, and that's it's a sticky situation because it's like tiptoeing on the lines of like a true like commercial cultivation license to be enabled to have that opportunity to offer to someone is. Guys like us, we would never be able to have that chance to I don't think start up a company per se that could offer that. I don't know.
Ricky, does it fall under the category of like everything else right now in Missouri? It was just too much government involved in the beginning is why we don't have that already.
Everything was so rushed. The questions they wanted questions, but there were so many questions and they're trying to get it answered for everybody. I think it was just too rushed.
It just seems to me it's just a shame. Everywhere else we go and see this industry, there's help wanted signs, there's people benefiting from it, there's patients getting the exact strains they need because each strain is good for something else, and it's just a shame that we're still waiting for all this here in Missouri.
Oh yeah, commencement inspections are taking their time. We're not going to have truly dispensaries open for another year and a half fully functional.
That's ridiculous too, with the older patients without access to people.
100%. They have, and that's only currently we only have flower.
Yeah,
we have no extraction. We have,
and not the best flower, really. Not incredibly good flower.
Well, what was it? Pre-ground eights?
Pre-ground eights. I said that a number of times I've listened to last week's episode. I kept laughing every time you said that. Pre-ground eights. Everybody needs pre-ground eights.
Super affordable medication for all patients.
Yeah.
I always hate having to grind that up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Swing into your local dispensary.
I guarantee it smelled like horse shit. Just like I bet it smelled like leaf shake.
Like
the stuff from St. Louis didn't smell, or you smelled it. It didn't smell or taste that.
I wasn't impressed.
Oh yeah,
but I don't think we ever are impressed by other people.
The C4 honestly was.
It looked all right.
It was really good. And that's
And how much was that? I'm just curious.
That was $49 out the door from
an eighth. For an eighth.
That's not horrible.
Which that was a grand opening price, so it'll probably go up to 60. But I would much rather pay 60 for a product like that than
if I'm going to have to pay it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And honestly, as a new market, $60 isn't that much. It is a lot, but
it's a lot if you've been buying.
We have to practice
old black market prices.
Yeah,
like the old black
market prices. I hope people are listening to those prices. I hope they
easily could have won at 80.
People hearing what they're selling this for
easily. because the cultivations they're charging these dispensaries. So Cassville, they essentially made no money off of selling their weed.
Yeah, I'd like to know that I'm not on that level, but I'd like to just know that. What did it take? How many dollars did it take them to get from the beginning to the point where they had that for sale the other day and they opened the doors for business? How many dollars have they spent from? That's got to be
dispensary cultivation.
Period. Like whoever started it from the time that seed went in the dirt.
Would that be the cultivation facility?
Yeah, seed to sale. What's it costing people in this state to get it on the shelf? That's ridiculous. I would probably have to charge $60 for pre-ground eights also.
Well,
wow.
So Cassville essentially broke even. She wasn't going to have the money to even pay the cultivator the day of the opening, and she just happened to get a check from the IRS in the mail, and she was able to pay him. So she opened up, but these dispensaries aren't making a lot of money.
That's ridiculous too, because there should be a cash crop.
And to see this side, I see that side of it.
Even on a commercial level, this is a cash crop. Somewhere there is a hole in the circle. You know what I mean?
Wholesale.
$4,000 a pound.
But eventually, as we all know, those prices are going to come down.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of people up in order right now. Supply and demand, they're going to raise their prices.
Yeah.
But in 2021, end of 2021, maybe the beginning of 2022.
So totally off subject. What's the update on the nursery?
There is no update, as far as I know.
Still nothing happened.
As far as I know, I don't think there's any update. We should have known yesterday, but
is that Sarcoxy or whatever?
Yeah, Sarcoxy.
Will that information be public immediately when it happens, or is that something that's behind closed doors?
I will do everything I can to make sure it's public. Because
get him, Ricky.
There's other people that are emailing the judge actually.
That one case could change a lot for a lot of other people. Is that what I'm understanding?
100%. That could change the whole Missouri market completely.
Yeah.
Oh man, what would that
And
look like though?
this election,
everybody gets a license.
depending on
why not?
what goes on in Missouri. Not to get into politics, but whatever happens in Missouri politics wise, things could really change.
Yeah.
So
That's gonna be wild.
it's going to get even crazier. The lawsuit will be even bigger.
Fingers crossed.
And the motherfucker's on fire.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like-
all that conversation from clones.
Oh yeah. Man, welcome to the Iron Man.
Some deep nose breathing.
Somebody had a whistle in their nose last week.
Yo, man, pick your boogers before you.
It sounds like a kazoo or something.
So, I know every plant's different, and different varieties or different phenotypes, and breeding is always going to be different. What has been some of the best plants to clone in your experience versus others?
To clone?
Yes.
I'm always a fan of the short flowering indicas.
Indicas have always
short
been
flowering
the
indicas are my
easier
jam.
cloning, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Not that you can't clone
Yeah.
the sativas, but I got away from a lot of the long season sativas a long time
And
ago.
maybe
being
the way
indoor
I
grower.
clone works better for indica than it does sativa.
There you go. That's a good way too. Yeah,
don't
maybe
know.
the way I'm doing
Indicas
it.
typically
yeah.
have sturdier branches. It seems.
I focus my growing around them, so I wouldn't know about a whole lot of others. To be honest with you,
That's because you
indoor wise, I'm not fighting certain things. I'm not trying to push boundaries. I'm trying to put medicine in jars regularly, and the strains I grow aren't like the new hot strains. They get national attention, but they are tried and true medical and very easily to produce indoors, very quick, and that avoids a lot of your problems also.
Yeah, and you said that's because that's where you went, so it's kind of natural for you to go with the easier cloning strains.
Yeah,
and the
we'll
better
try to
strains.
fire off one of those sativas in your tent with a bunch of others, and you'll get sick of that real quick.
Like
Also,
the other day, we were talking, just put that thing in flower right when it pops out.
talking about that.
12 from
interesting.
That sativa
yeah.
right in your
I'm going to
flower.
try that out.
That's
That's
totally
I wanna
try
know.
it.
Yeah,
That's
if
an
you're going back to the
interesting
land
concept
races
for sure.
in the equator, that's what they grow under. So that's very interesting. And the difference between
That's a
those
good
and
test.
I have
autoflower
this
is a good
red
one.
Congo that is a sativa, and I'm just gonna sprout some and just put them right in the flower room.
Better than waiting 13
And I guess
weeks
again-
on those strain
Yeah,
days.
it
Like,
is.
come on.
Again, with the plant counts, it affects that also. I'm not trying
Yeah, it's
to
hard to do
experiment. I want to get pretty good results every time.
Yeah.
I would like to be able to do crazy stuff and experiment with different things, but with the plant counts, it just keeps us very limited.
Be interested to see some of the grows in Oklahoma and their breeding programs that they're going through currently.
Let's go down there and tour them.
Let's do it.
You
Road
can do it.
trip.
They're pretty open down there. For
Get a
sure.
sprinter.
I know a couple dudes who have gone down and gotten some tours.
I need a good trip right now. I'm open.
I'm ready.
My car, my
pretty easy.
bag's in the
We'll
car.
set something up
I
for
was gonna say.
January or something.
So you let me
Let's
know.
go represent
January.
CCA somewhere.
Next week.
Let's go next week. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Well, I should probably get us in
Field trip.
somewhere.
We can go to Tulsa. We have some
I-
connections in Tulsa. We're looking to go tour a bunch of hydroponic facilities.
Say we might
can
be
all
able to
go use
partner
our
up with a
medical cards
podcast
down
down
there
there.
because they'll honor it.
Field trip.
You want to go? We can go.
Yes, let's go.
Let's
I've said
go.
yes, we're going to count on you. We're going.
Ricky knows people.
Yes.
We'll put it together.
We both know people, so
Let's go.
Guys, well, thank you so much for coming to this
Thank you.
conversation of Cannabis Convos. Have a great evening.
thank
Thanks
you.
for coming
Thank
out.
you.
God bless. Good night.
Smoke good weed.
What's going on?
Next week on Cannabis Convos, we'll be talking about breeding basics, phenotype hunting, and cannabis breeding problems.
How come this thing is not fucking just
Oh, look.
sitting here, dude? Like,
Check out my YouTube channel.
check out my YouTube.
It's on.
Hit subscribe below.
Wait.
All right.
Do you have intro music?
I do cut it. I do cut it in music for sure.
Is it kind of like that?